I've said it before and I'll say it again. Copying other artists in this rap game can get you a one-way ticket to a rap beef. Artists often chill in the studio and play music for one another. Nothing wrong with that, right? Previewing your unreleased music is cool and all, but what do you do when that same person decides that they want to use your idea and claim it as their own? Diss them, of course. This is Cypress Hill versus Ice Cube and Westside Connection. Now, although I say Westside Connection, WC from the group would for the most part stay out of the beef and not directly diss or be dissed by Cypress Hill due to his relationship with the group. So this beef mostly applies to Ice Cube and Mack 10. The beef started sometime in 1995 when Ice Cube and Cypress Hill were in the studio and Ice Cube was getting a song from Cypress Hill for the soundtrack of his soon-to-be-released film Friday. According to Be Real, he was supposed to be in the movie, but their manager had booked tour dates to go on in Europe, which prevented him from filming, so he agreed to give him a song for the soundtrack instead. That song being Roll It Up, Light It Up, Smoke It Up, a song about getting high, clearly fitting the theme of the movie. Be Real even mentions it being a Friday morning in the beginning of his first verse on the song. Ice Cube liked the song apparently, and Be Real offered to play him some music from the new album they were working on. They played a song that Ice Cube also liked, and he asked for that song instead for the soundtrack, to which Cypress Hill declined as that was the song they intended to be released as a single from the album. That song was Throw Your Set in the Air. They played the song for him some more though, and then sometime later, when the Friday soundtrack was released, Be Real got a call from a friend who asked him if they had given Cube the song as he heard a song on the radio that sounded similar to theirs. That song being the title track of the film soundtrack, Friday. The chorus, Throw Your Neighborhood in the Air If You Don't Care, was extremely similar to the chorus from Throw Your Set in the Air, and the group was understandably suspicious. Words were said during shows and on radio interviews regarding the situation, calling out Ice Cube, but then Be Real had a conversation with Ice Cube about it where Cube denied any copying and assured him that they were still cool and Be Real let the situation go for now. Shortly afterwards, Cube wanted Be Real to record some lines on a song for a new group named Caution that had recently signed to Cube's label, Lynch Mob Records. In the studio, Be Real heard lines on the song that was also from their soon-to-be-released album and figured that once again Ice Cube had stole the lines from the prior studio session. He walked out of the studio to make a phone call, and when he returned, the lines in question were erased. Once again, suspicious activity from Cube, which led to Cypress Hill making the song No Rest for the Wicked, which was a diss track to Cube based on the title from Cube's song Wicked from his third album, The Predator, which was released in 1992. That album actually featured production from DJ Muggs from Cypress Hill, which is something that would be referenced later on in the beef. No Rest for the Wicked was on their third album, Cypress Hill 3 Temples of Boom, which was released in October 1995, and the same album with the track Throw Your Set in the Air, the track that basically started the whole beef. On the song, they talk about how Ice Cube bit their lyrics despite supposedly being a friend. They also make reference to how Ice Cube went to the East Coast to get his solo debut album made, America's Most Wanted, and left the West Coast, which is the same thing Common said on his diss track to Cube around this time as well. Rapper King's son is then mentioned, and how Cube apparently stole an idea from him, and that he tried to warn people, but they didn't listen, and now Ice Cube is essentially doing the same thing to Cypress Hill now. According to an interview by King's son, he had gotten cool with Ice Cube when Cube was in New York, and even helped him out when things got heated during a beef Cube had at the time. He then asked Cube to pass along a song of his to Ice-T, and apparently Cube used an idea from his song to make the song Wicked from his third album. The song in question is called In Pursuit Uptown. King's son then released an EP in 1994 titled Strictly Ghetto, which featured the song Suck No Dick, on which he dissed Ice Cube on the third verse, making mention of the time when Ice Cube was in trouble and King's son backed him up in an altercation, and makes mention of the stealing of the chorus from the demo that he gave to Ice Cube. After No Rest for the Wicked, Ice Cube fired back at Cypress Hill with Mack 10 on Westside Connection's debut studio album Bow Down on the songs Cross 'Em Out and Put a K and King of the Hill. On Cross 'Em Out and Put a K, the three take turns rapping verses with Cube and Mack 10 dissing Cypress Hill, Be Real and DJ Muggs in particular, and Dub C instead dissing Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest. Mack 10 also sends some shots at the East Coast with lines mentioning high top fades, Kangol hats, and the fashion trend of rolling up one of your pants legs that was common in New York for a time. Ice Cube, however, sticks to dissing Cypress Hill. It would be pretty hypocritical for him to diss New York, honestly, considering that he went to New York for his debut solo album, which has been mentioned multiple times by other artists as well. King of the Hill is the other track on the album with shots sent directly at Cypress Hill, and another great diss track at that. Dub C doesn't appear on this one at all except for one line in the outro, as he wanted nothing to do with dissing Cypress Hill. On the intro, Ice Cube makes mention of how every few years someone needs to get their cap peeled, clearly a reference to the famous diss track No Vaseline, which was released in 1991, that he aimed at his former group, NWA. And he states that this time, Cypress Hill is the target. At this point, Ice Cube was known for being a very tough competitor on the microphone and one of the most famous and skilled rappers, especially on the West Coast. Around this time, he was also beefing with Common as well, which I covered in a previous video. Throughout his verses, Cube makes references to them alleging that he stole their lyrics, as well as dissing B Real's rap voice because of the high pitch, and sends various other shots at the group. One of my favorite lines is the beginning of the third verse. Everybody in the ghetto knows what you're doing, one white boy and two effing Cubans, claiming that you're loco, but you ain't Mexican, listening to No Vaseline before you flex again. Especially because of the emphasis that Cube uses on the song when he delivers the lines himself, much better of course than I could do. And considering that No Vaseline is a top diss song, making reference to it is a pretty fair thing to do here in my opinion. He takes multiple opportunities in this song to reference his skills at dissing other rappers. According to an interview by Mack 10, Sendog from Cypress Hill came to Cube beforehand stating that he remembers No Vaseline and wants no part in the diss battle between them. However, Mack 10 decided to throw a quick line towards him anyways with the Sendog ain't worth dissing bar, just to cover all bases. Most of the track is dedicated to dissing B Real in particular, as he was the one rapping on No Rest for the Wicked, but shots are also thrown at DJ Muggs as well occasionally on the song. After this scathing diss track, Cypress Hill returned fire shortly afterwards with the track Ice Cube Killer, which reuses the beat from King of the Hill and features a rapper that sounds similar to Ice Cube dissing him as well, which adds some humor to the track as it essentially sounds as though Ice Cube is dissing himself throughout the song. This was another good diss track. I remember the first time I heard it years ago, I was confused hearing someone who sounded just like Ice Cube on a track dissing him. Also, I couldn't tell who dissed who first, since they both used the same beat really. On the song, B Real responds to multiple lines of Ice Cube's from King of the Hill and makes multiple references to previous songs of his like No Vaseline and Wicked. He also claims that DJ Muggs produced the best songs from his third album, The Predator. That's a pretty subjective claim, but it is true that Muggs was a producer on 3 songs from the album. As a response, it's quite good, although I'm not really a fan of the whole high-pitched voice thing that rappers like B Real do. I do quite enjoy this response. B Real also continues calling him Doughboy, as he did on the previous diss, No Rest for the Wicked, which comes from the first movie that Ice Cube was ever in, Boys in the Hood, the classic Hood film, where Cube's character was nicknamed Doughboy. His nickname for Mack 10 throughout the song is Whack 10, a very simple name flip. Going at Ice Cube for his fake gangsta persona and being an actor was a common thing, as Common did the same thing on his diss to Ice Cube around this time as well. That's also a great diss track. It's called The Bitin' You. Go check it out if you haven't heard it yet. This would be the last diss track released regarding the beef, but other situations had occurred around the time, making things escalate to a point beyond music. Around this time, rapper Solo got into a fight with Ice Cube regarding a business dealing between his close friend Cam and Cube. And since Cube was also beefing with Cypress Hill, Solo gave the Westside connection chain that he took from him in the fight and let Cypress Hill hold it, further mocking Westside Connection. Also, this beef was causing a worsening divide in the Hispanic and African American communities in LA, and rumor has it that various gangs, including Mexican ones, were going to get involved with the beef and were taking the side of Cypress Hill, which could have led to a very dangerous outcome for Westside Connection. Fortunately, things did not escalate any further, as according to Mack 10, someone reached out to him and gave him B-Real's number, and he called B-Real and talked about the beef, as they were only beefing because Mack 10 was backing Ice Cube since they were friends and in a group. Gotta love the loyalty. Then B-Real and Ice Cube spoke to one another on the 1st of January 1997 and put a rush to the beef, and have since then become friends again, though probably not ever having quite the same relationship that they once had, however. Looking back, I can't think of many artists who were in this many beefs in such a short time frame back then. From the early to mid-90s, Ice Cube was beefing with not only NWA, but King Son, Common, Cypress Hill, and Cam and Solo. Luckily, none of these situations went past diss tracks and a few physical altercations. When it comes down to it, one of the most important things in any beef is the music. And I'd have to give it to Ice Cube for how hard King of the Hill was. But that's not to say that I didn't enjoy Cypress Hill's diss tracks by any means. I think Ice Cube Killer is a good response, and even their initial track, No Rest for the Wicked, was a good shot to Cube as well. As far as why the beef started, however, if Ice Cube really copied their song as well as did the same thing with King Son, I don't agree with it at all from a personal standpoint, as these were people that were supposed to be friends, and it's unfortunate to see the music business, in a way, get in between a friendship. It's fine to be inspired by others. It's actually quite normal, especially in the entertainment industry. And we don't own common phrases like wave your hands in the air and all that, but my personal feeling is such. If this guy is supposed to be your friend, it could have been handled better. But hey, maybe this is one of those times where we just say they were young and keep it moving, right? That's all for this episode of the Rap Beef series. What beef would you like to see me cover next, or other hip-hop related content? What do you think about this beef? What's your favorite song from it? Leave a comment in the comment section below, and as always, remember to subscribe to the channel, follow on places like Twitch and Twitter, and stay tuned for the next video.